Well, here we are again. It's always such a pleasure. Remember when you tried to kill me twice? Oh, how we laughed and laughed. Except I wasn't laughing. Under the circumstances, I've been shockingly nice. Yeah, except if that were actually sung. I honestly, mostly like that would have gone so much better, even just for confidence. Like it still would have been bad, but it would have been better if I actually not chickened out. Ooh, okay, that's lag. It's definitely lag. That's fine. We can work with the white. Where are some of these guys coming from? Those guys there feel like they shouldn't have been able to aggro me, but I got two off of. I feel like I'm being aggroed from further out than I'm used to. Where's that one remaining? I'm so confused right now. I haven't taken damage yet. Oh, hello, there's the one remaining. This is the full safe on round one. Honestly, full safe on round one, plus getting lost, wasn't that bad. It shows you like how powerful just having everything aggroed onto you is. Like, fighting, I guess you want to fight the clumps somewhere where you get where like stuff will aggro on you. Okay. That's a bit of damage. I mean, it's not like I'm ever planning on trying to learn this damageless, so it's not like I actually care if I take damage. I care if I take sufficient damage that I die, and I care if I take damage. I care if I take any damage from certain bosses, because they will just smash me, but yeah, let's go. Let us go. I'm in a good mood today. I'm not. Well, no, I do know why. I do know why we're doing a. Some friends and I are doing a physics competition, and did it last year, and it's a good time. It's a good time. Me overly safing the early rounds just in penance for all those times I've tried to speedrun the early rounds, hoping that it will make up for my sins. My sins against having good sense whilst doing hardcore BoNS. Do I go for it? Yeah, I go for it. Yeah. That wasn't worth it, but it wasn't. It also wasn't a bad decision, so I don't have a problem with that. Do we get a mech spawning here, or is it 3 Stromlings? I don't remember. We get a mech. Wow, really? That was incredibly bad. Oh, I nearly got a projectile jump there. I just really need to actually at some point sit down and work out timings for projectile jumps, because that'd be such a cool thing to learn. I do wonder what else might be theoretically possible with projectile jump-based techniques. Because I feel like there's potential there. Because that is... So for those who don't know what I'm talking about when I say projectile jumps, you will notice fairly often when I'm running towards a Stromling mech, I will get hit by one of its shots. Well, you'll also notice that I seem to lose some speed. I seem to run into something. This is because for some reason, and I'm not certain why, I don't know to what extent anyone is certain why, certain things in the game, certain projectiles in the game spawn physics objects. Yeah, why they do, no idea. Because it's not like you should it's not like you need a physical, like, when I say a physics object, I mean this is something I literally can run into, will bounce off of if I hit. well, okay, bounce is a strong word. You don't bounce in LU, but because in LU, any collision with something is more or less inelastic. You have non-zero friction, but you have zero coefficient of restitution. For the physicists amongst you. But yeah, so what you'll notice is that with certain projectiles, it seems when you get hit by a projectile, it does seem to be limited to getting hit by one. Oh, I don't like that lag. Oh no, I really dislike this. Yes, certain projectiles, when you get hit by them, or actually, it's not quite true. It's not just when you get hit by them. There are some other conditions, but basically, certain projectiles spawn a short-lived physics object. Very, very little is known about that at the moment. That might be like one of the theories is, well, I'm the only person who actually thinks about this stuff, but it's potentially related. It's annoying. It's potentially also involved in spring jumps. Interestingly. Like that was not a theory for ages, but basically what I discovered whilst mucking around with Delur actually was that stinky fish drop. Stinky fish also spawn these projectiles when they damage you, or not when they damage you, but when they hit you. And so it seems relatively likely that the two are the act of. And I think we also may have tested it with other projectiles. So it seemed to happen for AoE stuff. If you looked closely there, you may have seen that I temporarily played an animation where my arms waved. That's the only way you can get that animation is when the game thinks you're standing on the edge of a physics object. So that's just a little bit of evidence that I was actually, and specifically, you actually have to, if I recall correctly, you actually do have to be standing in some sense on the object. It's not enough. I don't think it's enough off the top of my head to simply be touching it. I believe you have to be in the standing state. Don't remember precisely. That's not something I've ever looked at. I guess I could test it here, but effort. This is not a research run. So, I'm not going to worry too much about that. But yes, so the projectile jumps, basically they seem to be in some sense related to they seem to be in some sense related to a projectile hitting something, damaging something, attacking something along those lines. Not really too certain, but it's an interesting interaction which we've never really made much use of, because there are better ways. If you're trying to get out of bounds, there are far better, not better, but more reliable ways of getting out of bounds. They're all more expensive, but they're at least reliable. Which means, yes, spring shoes, like, you in theory would need some pretty heavy enemy manipulation or some incredibly good reactions to be able to get projectile bounces out of bounds. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you need quite low walls as well, and you need quite a high density of mechs to shoot you quickly enough, and just in such a controlled way. I tried. You saw me try. What more can I do? Oh, I can hold right click. That'll be a good start. I don't like... Oh, you're kidding me. Okay, I need to remain a little bit... No, I'm just going to de-aggro. It's going to be annoying if they keep unaggroing or de-aggroing. Really? You're kidding me? Oh, bad time to lag. Oof. That's interesting. I was able to actually get a... Oh, I'm also low. I thought I healed up after the last one, so I got hit again without noticing. That's not great. There we are. For anyone wondering why I didn't take damage there, you cancel enemies' attacks if you hit them, or certain enemies' attacks if you hit them with certain timings. That's what happened there. This I can... Okay. Okay, we're going to play it like this. That's... You're playing very, very weirdly. But, there we are. And now we're in the loop. There is some slight risk when backing up here, so I'm going to actually rotate this cycle around like this. I've died to backing up on that hill before. I don't really want to repeat it. I can also go backwards a little bit faster than I normally do. Normally go backwards fairly slowly. Whee. And I'm not going to... I was in no rush to heal up there because, again, knew I had a second... and so knew that, I mean, even if the next round came instantly, it's Murgle Blotch, I am pretty safe. For at least enough time to heal up, because no ranged attacks, and actually I don't know how far I can go before he de-aggroes. This would be a good piece of information to have. Doesn't seem like he actually de-aggroes. Interesting. Yes, even, yeah, every other, pretty much every other enemy, including Stromling mechs, which are the ones normally with the long aggro range, they would have been de-aggroed by that point. So, that's interesting. Okay, and the key here, I should possibly go for some slightly more even terrain, because the key is to never attack whilst you're on the ground in this fight. If you attack whilst you're on the ground, you're setting yourself up for death, basically. Because attacking whilst you're on the ground will lock you in place, and Murgle Blotch will hit you, and in one hit you will be killed. I feel like I'm doing a introductory talk through, despite for this run in particular. It's, I don't know, a little bit odd. I'm randomly, partway through this series of attempts, doing an introductory discussion of everything I talk about, and dying at the same time. Truly the best introduction to this series one could ever possibly hope for. It does just about summarise, especially me discussing it being introductory, discussing something related to the gameplay and then dying directly afterwards. That is more or less the best summary of all of my attempts, I think. Could only have possibly been a better summary had I specifically just before said, oh, I'm doing really well, I haven't died yet. In fairness, I had thought that more or less directly before, so you know what they say, like a universe can read your mind. That's actually what I'd spent so long in development for. Yeah, because for those of you who don't know, LU spent ages in development. I don't mean DLU, I mean the original. Did I aggro those guys? Yes, I did. Ooh, oh no. There we are. Hello there. Yeah, don't follow me. It's fine. It's not a fast round 2, it's not a terribly slow one. This one, the Stromling mechs spawn in the centre. Next round, they spawn in the outside. Don't believe they spawn in a single fixed place. Well, I know they don't spawn in a single fixed place. I don't know what sets of places they can spawn. Was possibly mortar meant. Aggro those guys. The mech will still chase me. Yeah, you can see me bouncing off physics objects when those things come close to me. You may be wondering why they don't hit me. Basically, like... No, you're not getting away. That's a stupid idea, but it worked out. I mean, I had enough health, but I think I had enough health. I didn't actually check if I had enough health. I'm going off the fact that I had enough. I'm saying I had enough health simply based off of the fact that I didn't die. But that, it could have just been not all of them hit me. I should have started on the outside for this round, just so I get a mech fairly early on. The reason I like getting mechs fairly early on is because they just drain health. They're really annoying. Yeah, they'll just... It's a lot harder to go for any interesting strats when you've got mechs attacking you. Just because you've got to play it so much safer. Just to avoid... Just because, yeah, it's pretty hard to do anything interesting or dodging their shots 100% successfully. This is a really good time. Nice completion as well, nice. £1, yeah, that's a surprisingly good time for that round. Yes, I only have a good sense of what is a good time for a certain subset of the total rounds I play. Most of them, don't know. Round 1 I have a good sense of. Round 4 I have a good sense of, because the game at the moment is just convinced that I've never actually made it past round 4. For anyone wanting the actual record is round 5. I've made it to round 15. I've yet to beat round 15. Round 15 is King of Hurl. Last time I did die to lag. It's the one time. I'm very rarely going to blame lag completely here. There have been a couple of times I have lagged out very badly, but last time I just got no warning that King of Hurl was going to go back into attack mode. There is actually I seem to remember King of Hurl last time was. I seem to remember the last fight actually was like directly. Let's get close enough to you. So there are different radii you can get within the Dark Spiderling, and they trigger different attacks. Yeah, I don't remember if the King of Hurl last attempt I did. I feel that was when he was just waking up that we got the interesting attack, and that we died. And there's no real good way of knowing. There's no consistent way across all phases of knowing exactly when he's going to wake up. Because no, I guess the amount of time he stays down technically is the same each time. So maybe if the lag on King of Hurl seems to be a problem, and if it's going to be a problem somewhere, it will be a problem on King of Hurl. That's the place I am most likely to have issues, solely because any low probability event is significantly more likely to occur when you've got lots of repetitions, in which it might. And with King of Hurl, that is most certainly the case. We spent basically the entire boss fight takes, well, I've never completed it. It will probably take like half an hour. That's not good. Where the heck did you come from? You actually still going to aggro me there? Okay. Let's just move stuff around, and this will de-aggro the Spiderling if I go here. That was a bad choice, but we also lost the Hammerstromling, which is good. We've just got those. We lost the Spiderling, and both of those, they're in range of the Spiderling, but that's fine. I can live with that. Don't want him in range of the Hammerstromling and Spiderling coming over at the same time. Probably not a great thing, but now this guy probably... not out of range, doesn't matter. Hammerstromling will remain aggroed on me slightly further than the Spiderling will. Not if it started further off. I don't know where it started. And now they are both aggroed on me. I'm going to quickly run across, I think. There are safer ways of playing this, but realistically, I'm unlikely. Nothing unexpected is likely to happen here. I'm relatively... Again, these are early rounds. AI is pretty darn consistent, so I feel fairly confident. And there we are. Okay, so... Go up, trigger this guy. There's one other enemy somewhere. Where is it? Oh, no, there we are. It's that I was missing the hammer stromling. Good avoidance damage. I'll trigger this hammer stromling then. Really? This time's that, evidently. No, I'll take this guy out first. So yeah, most of these Battle Nimber Station runs, again, for anyone who's new, a lot of it is just... I know how to beat every enemy, basically. Or every enemy up to King of Hurl. Every enemy I've faced so far, I have a strategy for beating. It's all about ensuring you take them on. There are a couple of phases. So initially there's a phase where you have lots of enemies basically everywhere, and you've got to and if you're not, so there is a safe spot over in this corner to start a round on where nothing other than stronging mechs will begin aggroed on you, or at least nothing I've faced yet. I've just assumed that everything I'm saying here I'm referring to only stuff I've thus far practiced and experimented with. Yeah, nothing will aggro on you if you start in that corner. So yeah, you will be... We're fairly safe, and then then the game typically, especially in the later rounds, this will hold more for. Like these early rounds, I know very well, and so I know roughly where I'm expecting to spawn, and also there's just not too much risk in these early rounds. However, in later rounds, you get kind of more interesting. So they'll tend to be split into two parts. If I can't make it over to, or a couple of parts, if I can't make it over to that corner, then the game will begin by me trying to clear off mechs and low tier enemies. The game will normally begin with me trying to clear off mechs in some way. That's normally how basically every game starts. Normally that ends up with me attracting a fair number of low tier enemies, and I just have to deal with them. So when I say low tier enemies, I mean thus far there are two groups of enemies I would count in this. They're more or less the enemies I shouldn't die to. That doesn't mean I've never died to them, but they're just the ones that really don't do risky amounts of damage in a single hit. So yeah, the main annoying enemies early game are mechs. When I say early game, I mean early in the start of any round, they're mechs, and my first task will be clearing those out. Then basically, wow, that is really bad. Then basically the game goes with, I should actually, now I'm getting there somewhat consistently, I should retry learning consistent strats for Murgle Blotch. But yeah, then the game basically proceeds with me, the next step, so yeah, I'm going to clear out any enemies that are always aggroed on me, and the next step is clearing out more enemies, such that I have escape routes, and that I have clear paths to enemies that I'm interested, or to every enemy. So I will try, and so the game basically proceeds with me trying to ensure that I can engage every enemy on the map one-on-one, more or less. This won't always be the case for, like, because there are relatively safe strategies for beating most things. So pretty much the same strategy you saw me going for Murgle Blotch. I was not been doing it very well today. That's the only time that I've ever lost twice in a row to failing the Murgle Blotch attacks. But yeah, I'm doing this. It's the same thing I'm doing here, where you just run around in circles, and it's pretty hard for enemies to hit you. It's, as you saw earlier, not impossible. You can go too close. You can mess it up. You saw me messing it up there. That's mostly because with Stromlings, I will attempt that far closer, because I don't think, I may be wrong on this, but I don't think I've ever actually died yet to jump attacking a Stromling horde. I don't think, I might be wrong. Okay, I need to start learning times for these early rounds. I think this was mediocre. Don't think it was fast. I don't think it was particularly slow. Aggro these guys. Because, yeah, these early rounds I've started, I feel a lot more comfortable going fairly fast in them. Yeah, one good thing to know is that as long as you've been running for a little while, that was a projectile bounce, by the way. As long as you've been running for a little while, you can rip me and everything I said about early rounds. Yeah, as long as you've been running for a little while, normally you can get away from Stromlings, and therefore normally you're safe to do things like attack Stromling mechs. It may have gone too fast. No, I did not. Okay, cool. But yes, when I said earlier, the most apt death possible would be for me to be discussing not dying and then dying. Well, yeah. If you thought I was exaggerating or memeing, no, you literally just saw exactly that happen. This is very common. For anyone thinking about potentially returning to watching these series of attempts, I don't know why you would, but I know some people have. And for anyone considering becoming one of those people, yeah, get used to me doing that a disproportionate amount of the time. Wow. I guess other obvious things to note whilst we're doing somewhat introductory stuff is that, yes, everything flies. If not everything flew, I bet I could find like more interesting, I bet I could find cleverer strategies, but this is DLU and the nav meshes for this. I don't think DLU nav meshes prevent flight in general. And I lost aggro on one of the guys in the... Oh no, did I ever get aggro on these? I don't think I did. I think we've just got the extremities at the moment. Just gonna... There we are. And, well, I know that's a fairly slow rank 2. I think maybe... Or wave 2. Ouch. Here we have 2 strong mechs in the center circle. Yeah, as long as I play well, my rules are I shouldn't really die too early game anymore. I've gotten fairly consistent, honestly, at the early game. Not incredibly so, but like I've now... Early on, mechs were fairly risky, whereas now I do still die to them, but I feel I've got them fairly consistently. So I guess we're just going through the game, and I'm slowly building consistency with each enemy. Murgle Blotch would be next. The issue is Murgle Blotch does take a little while to get to. Normally, like maybe... I think my fastest is maybe 7 minutes. And we're definitely not going on pace for that. Interesting. I didn't think one would spawn on the inside. In fairness, all I remember is that on this round we get them spawning on the outside to start with. I don't... There are only actually 3 spots where they would spawn on the outside, so I guess it makes sense one of them would spawn on the inside, because I know we always have 4 mechs this round. Hadn't thought about it, though. Never processed it before now. I've actually got quite a few of the enemies remaining on mechs. If by quite a few, I mean only 2, apparently. It was more than I expected, because I hadn't been counting. Bonk. There we are. Wave 5, yes, so this is where we get the first Spiderlings. This is where, I mean, you've seen that, but yeah, just to say. Actually, that wasn't too bad of a round... Of a round 4, despite the honestly atrocious start. I'll kind of take that. Yeah. I knew there was a chance the Spiderling might aggro, but I also know I can de-aggro, so it's fine. Yeah, I guess that's another thing for being... That's one of the skills for this challenge, is knowing... It's not a huge one, it's not a particularly hard one, but it is one of the things that I didn't anticipate being like a required skill to begin with. It's knowing when something will be aggroed, it's knowing how to de-aggro it, knowing what distances you can get away with de-aggroing, having like strategies for all that stuff. There are then also, obviously, things which are nice to have, like safe strats for taking out certain enemies. So for instance, It's not a perfect safe strat, but the Hammer Stromlings, there's a relatively... As I say, it's not a perfect safe strat. That really shouldn't have played out the way it did, but there's a relatively safe strat given by... I mean, in fairness, the safe strat says don't have a Stromling mech attacking you at the same time. I didn't listen to the safe strat. Get close, run away. Yeah, that's about right. So yeah, for the Dark Spiderlings, you have different distances from them. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Different distances from them, they do different attacks at each distances. They have 3 possible attacks you can do. If they do 2 certain attacks directly one after another, you will die, which is why I back up. So every attack on these enemies, there is a cooldown associated with it. So you won't get them using 2 attacks directly one after another, or the same attack. Well, that's bad way of phrasing things. Basically, certain attacks, you're almost guaranteed to have another attack between them, more or less, no matter what. Just because the cooldown for certain attacks which can occur at any distance are smaller than those. Because I believe, I might be wrong about this, but I think for the Stromling mechs, not Stromling mechs, the... Well, it's more true for the Stromling mechs. At any distance where you are aggroed, or where they are aggroed on you, I need to back off. At any distance where they're aggroed on you, they are able to shoot you with a projectile. Just going to let that guy forget about me, and 2 hits. This will be down. Take out this guy next. Oh no, bad. That's what you don't like to see. I realised what was happening, which is always helpful, but that's the thing which is really scary in any of these runs. It is seeing an enemy run straight past you. From the second you see that, you should begin being scared. Because enemies only run straight past you when there's lag, and the enemy running straight past you is not a sign that the enemy has, in fact, run straight past you. The enemy running straight past you... let's just... Okay, I was going to try something there, but... yeah, the enemy running straight past you is more a sign that the server hasn't told you where the enemy actually currently is. That also normally means you haven't told the server where you currently are, and that means the server thinks you are still standing where you last were, which means you are within range of the enemy's attack. Hence why I got concerned when I was on 3 health and within range of the Hammer Stromling. Other risks associated with latency include the fact that dead enemies may not. Enemies which are dead on your end may not actually be dead on the server's end. And more importantly, you cannot attack an enemy that is dead on your end because the actual targeting used by attacks is client-sided. So, whilst the server may register, potentially, at some point, it will register the fact that you were attempting to use an attack. You won't be even correctly targeting anything. So, right, here we are. I feel at some point... Really? You did that? It's not doing what I'm expecting right now. Why? Okay. Well. That's better. No, seriously, still? Got to be a little bit careful. 2 health is... There are certain things I can do to try and get into the cycle that I want. That was meant to be it. Oh, I should also keep an eye on my healing items. Okay, I'm just going to play it by ear. There we are. Says play it by ear and gets directly back into the loop. So yes, you'll notice me talking about loops for various enemies. That's just... As long as you're doing consistent enough actions, the AI will always be consistent. And you can find fairly simple and relatively easy to pull off routines which guarantee safety. I'm going to quickly give myself gem level 9. I still have not memorized the code for a healing cherry, so I'm going to quickly get up a database browser to find that out. Hopefully that will load in a second or two. There we are. The Space browser is up. I'm going to get out the cd client.sqlite file. If you've set up a server, you will at the very least have a cd server.sqlite file. I normally also create a cd client one, which just doesn't have any mods or anything like that. Don't need to. But see my setup video for more on that. Do I try it? No, I'm chickening out. I'm chickening out. What if I do this? Okay. 1 to trigger it. Nope. Then run in. Do 3 back out. 1 to trigger it. 3 back out. No. Okay. I feel there is a better strategy for Merkle Blotch than I have at the moment, and I do need to find it. The issue is, yeah, it just takes, as you saw there, about 8 minutes to actually reach Merkle Blotch, which is annoying when you're strat hunting. Probably could spawn him in. Last time I spawned him in, I wasn't perfectly correct. Didn't attack me, which meant it wasn't very helpful. So as of now, the easiest way I can think of practicing is simply repeatedly going for him. However, that was about as close to a safe strat as I think I could come up with. The only other, I guess there is one other way I can try and trigger a safe strat, which is the only other way I can think of is by so basically I need a Merkle Blotch to be stunned somehow. That's the only way I'm going to be able to deal damage. I need to have some period where Merkle Blotch is stunned. It needs to be repeatable enough. It needs to be repeatable, and it needs to be for long enough that I can deal some non-negligible amount of damage. What I was tempted to do there was use the small stun that I seem to get. I'm really confused because bosses shouldn't be stunned, but it seems Merkle Blotch is. Use the small stun that I get whenever I hit him, but as you saw, actually, a lot of the time that stun, like, I didn't even still have him stunned. So that was not actually what was going on there, and that wasn't really working out. A little bit, yeah, not fastest wave 2s, but not a slow one. That ground pound kind of sped things up. Max first, as always. You saw me just hitting a projectile there and not moving. Oh no, that's bad. That's normally what you really don't want to happen. It's an accidental ground pound. They are one of the worst things that can go wrong. I got caught in a tree. That's one of the other bad things that can go wrong. Accidental ground pounds are annoying because ground pounds hold you in place longer than basically anything else. Accidental attacks are more common, but they are normally a little bit safer. They don't hold you in place for as long, so you can normally get both of them aggroed without losing. Yep. When you see the red icon above the head of a Stromling, that means you've gone too far away from its spawn position and it's being de-aggroed. It's a relatively fast round 1 without any speed strats. In theory, continuing somewhat this efficiently, there should be a relatively good time for that's not. I don't like jump attack circling on different heights because yeah, that's the place where you are most likely to have the issue I talked about where did I lose aggro on something? Dang it. Yep, lost aggro on one guy over there. Shame, that was actually a pretty fast round too. Still kind of is. Would have been a lot faster if I just not gotten hits there and dealt damage, but you know, we work with what we're given. amazed I avoided damage there for as long as I did. I was kind of just making semi-random actions. Two things aggroed up there, or unaggroed up there. Might as well pick up all three of these. What I have here, and that is all of the enemies. Do I go for it? Yeah, I'm going for it. That was enough to make it safe. If you're doing those, always err on the side of having them further away. Basically, always safer. And this is a fairly good time. Like 2:15 isn't too bad this round. One strategy I don't make use of that much. It's not bad. Heal. That was a little bit risky. I thought I had the height advantage on them, and I did. But, it's still a touch risky. Okay, 2 over here, and 2 behind me. It's still chasing me. It's fine. And this, close to a record time. That's why I risked that. I knew I wouldn't die, but yeah, that's pretty good. I believe my best is like 253 or something. So that isn't too bad. You actually almost have a bit of grace period after hitting the ground. Imagine getting kicked by a Stromling Meg into the water. 1-hit KO'd. I would think it may technically be possible. And you're coming out of the ground. Hello. I may have just aggroed that Spiderling. Yep, I did. It's fine. Work with that. Far enough here, I de-aggro them. I risk aggroing those two when I come over here, but it doesn't matter too much. I'm amazed I didn't aggro either of them. There's one Stromling left. I unnecessarily healed there. It's fine. So yeah, this is the kind of loop I would like to get into of Merkle Blotch. Maybe I'll give it one. Thing is, you can see there just how... I think I need to practice damageless Hammer Stromlings. If I make damageless Hammer Stromlings, I'm going to go for a Merkle Blotch damageless attempt. There we are. So it seems like if you get close enough in, you can fairly reliably trigger the lunge attack from the Dark Spiderling. Pretty decent Dark Spiderling fight. And yes, there is a temporary stun after after an enemy does damage before it uses its next attack, regardless of what the cooldown on the individual attack is, which is very useful in the case you just saw there, because basically what it meant I could do is it meant I could get away without Hello? Yeah, it meant that I could, that it was unable, that despite the fact that it did have its one attack off cooldown, it had its projectile attack off cooldown, I was still safe. No, I was going to take damage, that's fine. I was planning on that. Wanted to de-aggro you, thought I'd have gone far enough. It's fine. Meanwhile, I'm just pulling this mech further and further. I don't think it's far enough that I won't aggro the Spiderling by coming here. But it doesn't have to be. It just has to be far enough that the Spiderling doesn't actually make it to me, which it didn't. It's good. This is a little bit risky, but I'm gonna I'm gonna back out because that's not worth of dying for an attempt at that strat. There we are, and that's what I was looking for. That guy de-aggroed. That's the safe way of doing that. So that's the nice thing about walking backwards. It seems more or less that the Dark Spiderling will continue to keep pace with you fuel backwards, like you saw it take a step forward there. More or less, that's enough to keep you within range, within triggering range of the web attack. There we are. 3 enemies remaining. It's these 3, that's good. And yeah, we're back here again. This is... like, it's not ideal that I have died to Merkle Blotch as many times as I have. Like, this is definitely the worst run I had, although in fairness, last attempt was a test run. But... but we are getting back here fairly reliably and fairly quickly as well. Which are all good things. This will probably be, yeah, this will be around 8 minutes. This has been a relatively fast run to this point. Yep, it was too fast there. Dang it. I went too close to trigger the attack I wanted. And we're in the loop. I just want to be in the right place for fighting. But I am now. It's good. And yeah, it's really interesting. Like Dark Spiderlings, I am pretty much my success rate, and this is the one way of guaranteeing that I will die to this. My success rate is pretty near 100% of them now. I've gotten a lot better than I used to be. They used to be pretty risky, but that strategy you see me doing there of attacking and running backwards, once I worked that out, it got a lot easier. They got a lot more reliable. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a safe to Merkle Blotch run, I think. Let's just see how. Is it better to release? To release such that I'm kicking at the right angle? I don't think it is. Oof, that was too close. That was close enough that I seem to have triggered an attack server side, but not client side. No, that can't have happened. Maybe that I triggered the animation server side, but cancelled a client side. That could be possible. Don't know exactly how the animation syncing's done. For anyone wondering why I'm walking diagonally, it's not because it's faster. LU is not one of those games where walking diagonally is faster. I'm walking diagonally because it changes the angle at which my attack comes out relative to my direction of motion. And moving diagonally does not... it doesn't increase your speed, but also doesn't significantly decrease it. And so this, in theory, when I actually get hits off correctly, this lets me attack quite a long way before Merkle Blotch gets to me. That's also why, yeah, that's why I'm doing all of this with the camera. Oh, that was too close, yeah. Yeah, all of this stuff with the camera is just to direct my attacks as well as possible. Wow. Not doing a good demonstration of that at the moment. There we are. Better. Get. Normally, what goes wrong is that I get... so that I end up with Merkle Blotch a little bit too close and end up running away. Okay, so now we're on to Pirates. Pirates, I've actually died a few times to. They are incredibly slow. In theory, yeah, they're far less likely to surprise you than, for instance, Stromlings, because Stromlings run up quite quickly, and they normally attack far more slowly. However, they have a set of attacks, and one of these attacks does 3 damage. It also knocks you back, which can sometimes be a little bit helpful, but yeah, it deals 3 damage, and that can be quite annoying for, well, the obvious reasons that 3 damage is quite a lot when you've only got 5 health. Which means, yes, I've died to these guys in the past. In theory, they are relatively safe, but in practice, they can be a little bit harder than that. I'm also going to begin. You'll see me doing this. I'm going to clear those out. I'm not going to bother picking up anything from them unless I really need to. But that's just so that the auto-aim system in LU does not aim for them at any point. Aggroed 2 of these, that is it's fine. Ideally, I would not like to have done so, but you'll see that. And there we have the 3 damage single attack. I can't believe that happened. See, I didn't know that could come as the second attack, though. So I did learn something there. But that is my first death ever on that round, I believe, if I recall correctly. May potentially have died on the first run I made it there, but I don't think... Well, I know I haven't died on any since then, because that is an incredibly easy round that no one should ever die on. Yeah. Too pleased already. It's already turning out to be a slow start. Interesting. Don't know what I did that was so slow. That's bad. Let's heal up. It's not necessarily a slow start, but it wasn't a fast start. I dislike the time delay there. There was a little bit of latency between that kill, or at least between the death sound of one of those kills. And the guys took too long to notice me. And yeah, okay, this is... Yep. And that is where lag begins to kill me, so maybe I will call it here. Oh yeah, that was slow as well. That countdown in. Yep, and these guys are not running directly towards me. That one enemy dealt damage to me without being in the right position. And yes, you can see by where the coins are dropping that yes, they do not have a very updated estimate of my position. So this may be then where I call it. I want to see if I can achieve something there. Oh, now they seem to know where I am. Okay, no, we'll keep going, we'll keep going. Do I want to keep going, given that I know this could end badly? I want my money back. I'm kind of hesitant too. If the internet will go down, I don't really want to be partway through a run to King of Hurl and to die on it, so I may call it here. I think I will. Okay, thank you very much for everyone for watching. That wasn't really intended as an introductory thing, but I feel I just discussed more introductory stuff because, you know, not everyone has the time to go back and watch that first video. So thank you all very much for watching. I've been Intro You, and I will see you around. Goodbye.